Good evening, cheeseheads, and welcome to this video preview over on our YouTube channel of Tottenham Hotspur versus Burnley, plus reaction to our Europa League draw. All to come on the show. Joining me, the caller tonight, are a couple of illustrious guests, all the way illustrious guests indeed, all the way from Brazil. Is Brendan McCurty. How are you, Brendan?
I'm good, mate. Good, yeah. It's a Friday night here. It's Friday night there as well. And yeah, I'm feeling good. Glad the weekend's coming on. Feeling positive about the weekend. So yeah, I'm good, mate.
Friday nights are universal around the world.
yeah. I'm only 3 hours behind you, so it's like my Friday night's starting. Yours is sort of bang in the middle.
9:52, baby. We're just getting started. We are just getting started. And also joining me is the Harlow Globetrotter himself, who's nodded off. HG, how are you, mate? Long time no speak.
It has been a long time. It's been a very long day as well for me. But, I'm good. Like, it was beautiful weather today, like 20 degrees, ice cream, T-shirts, out in the sunshine. So, I'm very, very happy with how the day's gone. And I haven't burned yet, despite being outside for at least 15 minutes.
Are you one of those people that normally goes a bit like those Brits that go lobster pink? Or
the only part of me that tans is the back of my neck, because that's the only part of me that has consistently seen sun in the 40-odd years of my life. Everything else just doesn't really like it. But the back of my neck is like, the perfect Latin lover.
Beautiful. I thought that was Brendan. Right, so looking ahead to the weekend, so Tottenham Burnley. Who's got a lorry going past the window?
Me.
It's definitely you, Brendan. Definitely you.
Is it?
I just
up my mic. I'm messing with the game. Yeah, that was going too loud. Okay, sorry.
It was absolutely fine the way you had it. That's the best of it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to come to you first, Brent. Tottenham Burnley. Tell us, what do you think of Sean Dyche and his team? And I'll give you an extra bonus point in the next quiz if you can give me your best Sean Dyche impression.
Do you want to play lookalike in the pub? No, that guy over there looks like Les Dennis. It is Les Dennis. He's in the pub at 3 a.m. But yeah,
hang on, Brendan. Where do you think Sean Dyche is from?
I don't know. I can't do it. I just know that he hasn't coughed since 1987.
No, that's true. That's true.
And AVB had something similar as well. AVB sounded like he always needed to cough, and so does Sean Dyche. It's got this. Anyway, Burnley, they're not great. Their form's been up and down. I did a preview for one of their fan channels on YouTube, which just went out. They're 15th, I think. They're just above the relegation zone. They've drawn their last two games. The last result was a draw against 10-man West Brom, and that's not a great result. They're not scoring many goals. Their best result recently was a 3-0 win over Palace. Previously was the win at Anfield, which was over a month ago. But their fans aren't happy at the moment, and I'm optimistic. I think that we can get back to winning ways. I think that the West Ham game, whilst the result wasn't what we wanted, we showed enough in the final third to show that we can bring the game to a team, and Burnley they're gonna make it difficult for us, but I'm optimistic.
Okay, and danger man to watch out for. I'll tell you, Sean Dyche on the touchline. Oh yes, it sounded more like Mel B. HG, tell us.
It was the Bo-selected Mel B, the Bo-selected version of Mel B.
Yeah.
Grapes.
I genuinely am disturbed about where the two of you think Sean Dyche is from. He is not from Yorkshire, which seems to be what you two have just done. Then? He's Midlands.
He's not Midlands.
He's from. I think he's
Midlands.
I think he's from Kettering.
Well, I'm
I
getting
don't know
on.
why I think I know that, but he
No,
is
he's
not a
not from
Yorkshireman.
Kettering. I'm from Kettering originally.
Yeah.
There's no chance. I'm
And
googling
you
now.
sound like him, you do, with your Brummie accent.
I don't think so. I'm gonna love this when it says Yorkshire.
All right, well, you look it up. When it comes to Burnley's players, they don't have anyone that you'd want to buy, so that's a good start. Who are we going to be nervous about? It has to be the central strikers, because we know that Chris Wood likes to score against us. We know that Ashley Barnes likes to score against us. But it's a very functional team that, if you think about it, is better than the sum of its parts and still finishes like 15th. So there's not many individuals that we probably should worry about, but we have to worry about their work ethic and the fact that they do know how to play the system they want to do.
I've got some very sad news. Guess where Sean Dyche's from?
I don't know. Does it rhyme with bettering?
Same hometown as me. Wonderful.
Uh,
But, I lived most of my life in the south. He's lived most of it in Yorkshire. Hence, there you go.
And there you go. Yeah, those years he played for Watford, and he was at Chesterfield as a player. But yeah, like he's obviously lived in Burnley for a while, so maybe it's rubbed off. But yeah, he's not Yorkshire. He looks like the big dour Yorkshireman.
He does.
Probably more than Mick McCarthy does, who is a big dour Yorkshireman. But yeah, Sean Dyche is.
Is he still alive, Mick McCarthy? He must have been. He must be about.
Yeah, no, he's the manager of Cardiff. He just got the job at Cardiff.
There you go.
So he is still going, but
Well, that's good. No Sean Dyche impression then, HG.
no. Well, I did my Brummie accent.
Can I just point out that Kettering is nowhere near Birmingham? Like literally nowhere near. It's closer to London, I think, than it is Birmingham.
Yeah, but you live close to Kettering up north, and you work near Birmingham up north.
I don't point near Birmingham. Yeah.
Yeah, I said near Birmingham, and you do work near Birmingham, so it's not that far away, is it? Dyche's brother.
Okay. Yeah. I'm not hard enough to be Dyche's brother. He looks like you go in a pub with Sean Dyche, the bar are clear. Like, no, you got no worries. Honestly, that guy farts. Everyone shits themselves and runs off. I'm telling you now, it's intimidating to the degree. Okay, so Bren, what's your prediction then for the game? Do you think? I mean, we've seen what have we lost? 5 in 6 Spurs in the Premier League. It's pretty poor. I know Burnley are not exactly haven't exactly set the world on fire this season, to say the least. But are we worried? Do you think?
I mean, yeah, you're right. The form's not been great, but you kind of, where's the win going to come from? It has to be here. It has to happen now. I was optimistic for West Ham. It didn't work out, but yeah, we can do Burnley. There's no one there that should scare us apart from ourselves and our defenders. So I'm optimistic. I think we can get back to winning ways. In terms of a score prediction, I think I said 3-0 on the pod, and I'll stick with that. I think that, like, if he does start Bale, which the suspicion is that he will, that's a great front three. That's the front three that we've wanted. I mean, getting players back from injury now. Aurier's back. We've got Reguilon back.
Yeah.
The key question is that defensive pairing, but at the same time, our defenders aren't that bad. They're just not playing well at the moment. Like you look at the defenders that we have. We have Alderweireld. We have Sanchez. We have really good players there. Dyer. Like, they've all played in the last World Cup. We just played West Ham, who have Craig Dawson and who's the other defender? Masaka, is it, for West Ham?
Well, whoever.
Yeah,
I don't even know. I don't know the West. Look, I've tried to erase that from my memory. I hate West Ham at the best of times.
They were well coached, and that's the thing. Like, our defenders aren't that bad. So I just think that there has been a lot of focus on individual errors and stuff, and I think that we may concede against Burnley. That there will be set pieces. We know what to expect from them, but we've got more than enough to cause them problems as well. So I fully expect to win. I can't see anything else but a win. If there is, God help us.
HG, you as chipper?
Look, if we play like we did when we beat West Brom, which is probably the last game that's of a similar level, we took the game to West Brom, we scored the goals, and we won the game quite comfortably. You'd like to think that it would be the same against Burnley. But yeah, when you do lose 5 out of 6, I mean, we have to say that those games were West Ham away, which is never easy. Chelsea, Liverpool. There's some decent teams that we've lost to, and Brighton. Yeah, exactly, City. So it's 5 out of 6 probably sounds worse than it needs to. But yeah, look, I don't know. I just think that Burnley at home, no fans, regardless, we need to take the game to them. We need the points. And they will probably sit back anyway because that's the way they like to play.
Yeah,
I don't think that. Yeah, they'll be thinking we're starting with a point. We want to finish with a point, and if we get anything else like they did at Anfield, then they'll be thrilled. But I think they realise that it's a tough game, despite the fact that we are very mid-table right now.
Very mid-table indeed. Bren, come on then, give us a score. What's your prediction? And who do you think will make the starting lineup? Do you think any surprises in there? Do you think, you said before, Bale, you hanging your hat on that, are you?
Yeah, like why not? Like he's shown that he's sort of reaching that level where, like we were saying, he was the best player on the pitch when he came on against West Ham. He can produce things, so why not? Like, what have we got to lose? He is our player. I don't think we need to have like one of the front three needs to be a sort of more defensively minded player like Bergwijn. So yeah, why not play Bale? I think Dele will probably make the bench. I can't see Dele starting. That's wishful thinking. Everyone's like, "Oh, let's go with the front four of Dele, Kane, Son, and Bale." That's not going to happen. But I'm sure Dele will make the bench. So yeah, I'm going to go 3-0. And Kane and Son, maybe they won't get as spectacular goals as we saw last home game against Burnley, but you'd like to think that they'd be up for this. Kane had a full rest during the week, didn't play. Same with Højbjerg, didn't play. And Ndombele, he didn't come on either. So our sort of key players have been rested. So you would hope they'd be fresh and that we would start the game well, bring it to them, get the early goal, and settle in and just pick them off.
And how small is your beer glass? Just remind me. Have you got like a can of Coke for comparison?
This is the can of beer. Hey,
and how big how big is that can? Did you say?
It's 350. It's normal. It's 350 ml.
So can. Coke, basically, same size.
Coke. We've spoken about this here in Brazil. It's very hot. You can't have a pint glass in Brazil because the beer would warm up within 10 seconds.
Can I just stop you? Aircon?
You've got aircon on, but that doesn't keep your beer cold.
Well, hang on, it keeps the ambient room temperature cool, doesn't it?
Maybe, but no, it's a cultural thing. The majority, most
so
of the time, I'm drinking.
What you told me
outdoors.
before then is bullshit.
No, it's all bullshit. It's hot temperatures. Culturally, this is a standard beer glass in Brazil. It's called Copa Americano, American Cup.
I know what that means. My Spanish is brilliant. My Portuguese is brilliant, let me tell you. And my Spanish. So you've got a pathetic sized beer glass. I appreciate that.
It's fine. No, it's fine.
It's fine. It's all good. The only thing, it pissed me off just having to refill it every time. Anyway, right. Getting sidetracked. HG, give us your predicted sort of lineup. Any surprises in there?
I think the surprise is that I actually think Jose might play all 4 of them. That would be a surprise, but I think if only because, like, if he plays someone else, who's it going to be as the 10? Right? If he moves Ndombele there, then he has to find another midfielder, and we don't really want Sissoko to start. Do you want Winks to start? Like, it suddenly becomes so this also is not fit. So who's going to come in? You probably are going to see Ndombele playing next to Højbjerg, and if that happens, it's either it might be Lamella, I suppose. But yeah, I think he might think at home, like, give the fans what they want to see, and if we lose, well, he was right all along. It wouldn't surprise me, if I'm honest, but I think it would be surprising because we all know how pragmatic Jose is, to say like, no, I am going to go with all four. I mean, the thing with Bale and Delhi to an extent is that when they are on form, it looks like they're playing a bit of a different game to everyone else. And Bale especially struts to the point where even if he's only on half his best, he still looks like he's playing a completely different sport. So I hope to see one of them play, but it would be pretty frustrating if we see Lamella and Lucas again.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
I agree with that. I mean, yeah. I mean, I like Lamella as much as the next person's, but his rollovers really do upset me from time to time. He just can't help himself. Okay, that's good. And your prediction then, HG, for a score?
I mean, I think I agree with Brendan on the pod, but I might have changed my mind since. I'll go for a less convincing 2-0, just because, like, I mean, if we get another 5-0 like last year, we'll all be going crazy. But I think that with Jose, no, we'll see how it goes, and if we get a couple, he might be content to shut up shop a bit. So let's go with 2.
Okay, I'm going to say we're going to win 3-0. And Son, I mean, it was in this fixture last season that Son won the Puskas Award, wasn't it? He's sort of legging it from his own 12-yard box all the way down the pitch and scoring a great goal. So we'll go for Son with the first goal. Wonder what odds you get for that on Sky Bet. I'll have to have a look. Not that we endorse gambling on this show. So that's the predictions. 3-0. What are you saying, HG? Did you say? 2-0.
I said 2-0.
2-0.
Yeah.
And Bren, I just want to be really clear, so we're putting our flag in the ground.
I'm going 3-0. And also, like with last season, Kane scored a worldie, which everyone's forgotten about because Son did his.
Yeah.
But it was amazing. He just belted it. It was a beauty. One of his best goals. One of my favourite Kane goals. And everyone's forgotten because Sonny put on the afterburners.
Well, Neil Williams says Delhi and Bale to start on Sunday. HG saying absolutely. And I think me and Brendan are saying hell will freeze over before Jose does that.
Bale probably, Delhi, doubt it.
I doubt it, but I want to see it just to see if that Bale is the answer that everyone seems to now think that he is. After most people spent the last 12 months slagging him off. Let's do a couple of questions. Oh, that's rather big. It says, if you had to choose another team to make a podcast or support, which would you choose? Could be any team.
Oh my gosh.
Lloyd, HG.
So does it have to be English? I mean, I don't know, but one of my really good friends is a massive fan of Eintracht Frankfurt, and so we talk a lot about them, and I followed them a little bit for the last 2 or 3 years. I sat down tonight to watch them play in the Bundesliga. They'd only lost twice all season, and I watched them lose. So that would be, I've got great experience for doing a pod about a team that loses big games. So yeah, probably them. There's a lot about the club that I like, just who they are and the fact it's not one of the massive ones in Germany, but it's up and coming, and they've obviously got some good players. So probably Frankfurt in the UK or in England. I'd be tempted to want to do one about Leeds. I know it's dirty Leeds, but there's a lot about Leeds. Yeah, there's it's the closest team to where my mum lives, so there is a bit of a link there.
There's a little bit of northern in all of us.
That's right. White, blue, and yellow, the best colours, right? So it would have to be Leeds.
Okay, Bren. I mean, you're going to just give me the name of some random local Brazilian team, aren't you?
Yeah. So mine would be Bahia, which is where I live. It's my sort of local team here. I follow them. And because also the base of the Brazil Spurs sort of unit that I work from, they all support Bahia as well. So by proxy, I have to support Bahia. And they do a lot of good things as well. Like there was an oil spill here recently, and they did a lot of work, and they brought a lot of attention to the oil spill and the bringing the nature back to life. And so Bahia probably here. In the UK, don't know. Not one of the big teams. I don't know. I don't know. I might say probably Brentford, because that's the first team that I ever went to see live was Brentford, the Bees, and they're up and coming. They're the Moneyball team in the Championship. They hopefully this season will make it up. So I've got a lot of time for the Bees. I used to do their soccer schools when I was a kid at my primary school, and I think I said to you guys that it's sort of, when you're a kid and you lie, you say, "Oh, I had trials at Brentford." I'm like, I didn't have trials. I did their summer school. My parents paid for the summer school, but it was the first team that I ever saw live, and so probably Brentford in the UK, because fingers crossed they make it up this season.
Gotta say, as part of this teeth whitening, which I was talking about beforehand, right, is increased sensitivity, right? So I'm drinking this glass loaded with ice, and every time I'm drinking up,
why have you gone all Bobby Firmino and Jurgen Klopp? Is like,
why not? Getting old.
You're a good-looking fella. You don't need to douse your teeth in bleach. What's going on?
Was it laser or was it the gel? What one did you do?
Gel. It's gel. Going for the gel.
Yeah.
I think it's important to
midlife crisis.
Listen, don't go hating on my white teeth. Thank you very much. I haven't given you my answer yet. Yeah.
All right, go on then. Tell us.
Go on then.
So I will shout them out. Actually, there's a podcast called Bucks Tales Podcast. The team that my dad used to take me to watch when I was a kid, or torture me with, was Telford United, home and away. Back in the day when they had a team, I think they reformed as AFC Telford United, and I'd get involved and do something with them because it was my local team and I grew up watching them. So I've got, despite the fact that I could give you like a dozen player names and you would know none of them. Oh, I might know one or two actually. Sam Ricketts, do you know Sam Ricketts? Left back, Welsh international. Yeah. He played for Telford before he was in the Premier League. And Jamie Vardy obviously played for Fleetwood Town against Telford. So there are some at that level to give you. There's one, and there's one you might have heard of. Well, if I said Tim Langford and Ian Bembo to you, that would mean nothing, would it?
But hang on a second. So you're telling me that Telford's proudest moment is they once played against Jamie Vardy?
No. One of my most memorable games watching Telford was losing 4-2 to Wycombe Wanderers, the breakout season that they got promoted from the league, and of course Martin O'Neill was the manager. It was. I knew he'd gone to bigger and better things. I knew it. No, that's what I'd do because that's what I was brought up on, and I just think it would be good fun. Bucks Tales, if you've ever heard of Telford, look them up. It's quite good. They have old players on to talk. I mean, old players who are like Binman now and things like that. So they're obviously got nothing better to do. Don't hold out much hope of us getting Gary Lineker on here. I think he's otherwise indisposed. Phil Ambrose, another favourable cup draw. I'm just going to see if this is working for this. I don't know why it's gone huge. It's gone huge. Anyway, I'll just tell you. Another favourable cup draw. One positive of having Jose as manager seems to be his knack for good cup draws.
For us, anyway, yeah.
I mean, this is it. Like last year. I mean, last year the cup draws weren't great. We got Middlesbrough away and then Southampton away before we lost to Norwich. Crap. That was probably the best draw we got, and we lost that game. But yeah, like this year, you're right. Leyton Orient didn't even happen. Such a good draw. Chelsea at home, Marine. Who else have we had in cups? Wycombe. I mean, Everton away was tough, but yeah, Stoke, Brentford. I mean, we have had some good draws, and then you take the Europa League draws as well, like Wolfsburg, and then this lot, Dynamo Zagreb. We could have had a lot worse. So, if that was a reason to employ Jose, then if that's the reason why he wins cup competitions, I'm in. It's nice. It is nice to get somewhat easy draws.
There you go. So,
of course, they're only easy if we win.
Well, I mean, that's the point I was going to say. I was going to come on to talk about this, but let's talk about it now. Dynamo Zagreb. What do we know about them? I'm going to come to you, HG, because I think Brendan knows probably the sum total of nothing about them, as do
Yeah.
I.
I'm going to get a bit.
See, I mean, that's probably. And I'm going to get a gin, and I'll see in a bit. Yeah. No. What do we know about them?
Well, this is the funny thing. So I've actually been to their stadium.
Okay.
I went to Zagreb 6, 7 years ago, and not knowing what there was to do, but I knew that they had a massive football stadium. That's what I wanted to do. So I went out took the tram out to the stadium, and it's massive. It's really imposing, and you can bet when it's full, it wouldn't be a place that you'd want to play. I mean, like it wouldn't be a welcoming proposition, let's say. It's not like the one in Belgrade, where I mean, Belgrade Stadium is massive, but has a running track around it. This one is very much, it reminds me almost of the Mestalla in Valencia, with the stands are so steep that the fans are basically on top of the pitch. But yeah, the team themselves, and we know that Luka Modric obviously played there. We signed him from Zagreb, and I think we've played them in Europe, maybe in an Europa League group stage not too long ago. I mean, it's 4 or 5 seasons now, but I think we have played there. The Croatian league, they're second. I mean, they're always there or thereabouts. So you get a good side.
Yeah.
And it's usually where the best Croatian players start before they move abroad. So if they've got any youngsters that are 21 or under, you can imagine that they'll be playing at a higher stage in the next 2 or 3 years. But yeah, I don't know a great deal out of that. But
did they beat previous round?
They beat Krasnodar. So Krasnodar, obviously Russian side. They beat them home and away. I don't know if that tells us too much. They just happen to be better than their opponents. I mean, it's like us beating Wolfsburg. Like, obviously we won convincingly, but it doesn't say much about who we are right now. But yeah, I'm thrilled with the draw, if only because it was the one that I wanted. Zagreb's only 4 hours from me, so if I look into things, then you never know. But I think that's what I'm going for now. Like, I mean, usually I've done this for years. I wanted us to draw the teams that were relatively close to where I live, and the Europa League makes that a bit more possible. But yeah, like if we get Prague in the next round, that's also about 4 hours away. I'd be laughing if I could get to one more Europa game this season, if it's possible. Then it would be great. Yeah.
Very good. Brent, anything to add on Zagreb?
I just like watching the draw today. Like it was looking like we would draw a British team, because the first 3 draws came out, no British teams, and you're like, oh, it's going to happen. And to be fair, there are logistical benefits of playing United or Arsenal, but you don't really want to face them now. You want to sort of wait, see if they get knocked out. So when we got Zagreb, it was a great draw. It was a great draw. And United got AC Milan. That's a great tie. Even now, like the return of Zlatan, they're not the force they were, but still, it's a great tie. Like AC Milan against Man United. Arsenal got Olympiacos. They knocked them out last season. So fingers crossed they do it again. But yeah, we can't be disappointed with that draw. That's a great draw for us. And there's question marks over the arrangement of the ties, because we can't play our home tie at home at the same time as Arsenal play at home. So there's question marks on that side of things, even without crowds, which is weird, because the whole point of that rule is because of crowd control and police allocation. So apparently, because Arsenal won the FA Cup, they have priority over us. So we have to then look to rearrange either the time, the day, or switch the home and away time. It's crazy. It's a crazy rule, but so I think the club is in communication with UEFA to sort it out. I think Jose will always fight for the best advantage. I think the best advantage is to play the away game first, because that's when we get the away goal, and it's doubly hard for the visiting team to overcome. So we'll have to wait.
There is obviously the opposite view is that if we do have to play the home leg first, it's 3 days before the North London derby. So it would mean that Arsenal travel to Greece 3 days before the game, and we're at home, which would obviously help us with the league game in mind. And I don't personally I don't really mind playing the home game first. I think, I mean, I've always been against the away goals rule. I don't really like it. I've never really liked it. But playing at home, like even if you don't win, I mean, we've seen it in the previous seasons. When we played Ajax, we were at home with the first leg, we lost it, but we knew that they only scored one, so away goals weren't ever going to be a factor because we just needed. If we scored one, then we were level. 1-0 doesn't really help.
Yeah.
And obviously, the Man City game we won at home first before fluking it on away goals. So,
yeah. So we won both those games on away goals, and you don't like the rule.
No, I don't like the rule. I mean, I'm happy that it worked in our favour, but I don't like the rule at all. And if you play the second game away and it does finish level after 2 lots of 90 minutes, you get 30 minutes to score a more valuable goal. So I don't really care either way. I know that tradition says that you want to play away first, but in this case, I don't think it really matters too much unless we lose on away goals and then it all goes to pot. But I just.
And with this tie, when we play away, are we going to be playing in Zagreb or are we going to be playing in a neutral stadium? Do you know?
Puskas.
It would all depend on whatever the Croatian government have with flights from the UK. That's the teams I know. What about the Austrian system? That's why they couldn't play in Austria. So yeah, I don't know, but it will all depend on the Croatian government and if the UK has rules to say that they can't come to us, then the game won't be at White Hart Lane either. So I don't really know yet.
Okay. A few comments. Ilana Popovics says, I would play Dele instead of Lamella. HG, did you pay her to write this? Keep Lamella back if we need someone to run around and get in people's faces. Dele has more end product and generally does better as a starting player than a sub. I'm not
and is generally just better than Lamella and always has been. Yes.
Yes.
I completely agree with you, Ilana. That's exactly what it is.
Neo 1972 says, you are the one, Neo. Says, Jesus, the Backstreet Boys haven't aged well. Good evening, lads. And do you think Bale will be kept for another season? Form is starting to pick up lately. For me, I think it just depends what he does in the next sort of 3 or 4 months, really, doesn't it, HG?
Yeah, I have a feeling that, I mean, Bale don't want him back.
I think he'll stay.
Yeah, if there's any possibility, like maybe Levy will negotiate to pay even less of his wages. But yeah, a player like Bale, that we've seen it. It's only taken 1 or 2 games, but we've seen it that when he is, when he's on it, he is one of the better players in the leagues. And more importantly, defenders are scared of him. They know that they're going to struggle when he's on it, and you can't buy that. There aren't many players in the Premier League where defenders think,
very few.
Even if I know what he's going to do, I don't think I can stop it. There are very few players, so I can see it happening.
Bale, for me, still is one of the best players in the Premier League, talent-wise. He's 31. It's not exactly old, you know. I've got to say, I think the situation has been completely mismanaged, and I think if another manager was in charge of, I know I've banged the drum for Mourinho, so you can by all means throw that in my face, but I do think that if someone different had been in charge of Spurs, you'd be seeing much more of Bale because he needs the run of games to get in the team, and I just hope he gets that now. And I know you can turn around and say, well, he the first couple of times he didn't make an impression, but he hasn't played for a very long time.
I mean, we have to remember that obviously when Bale joined, it was early October. It took a couple of weeks for him to get fit enough to even be a sub, and then we went on that run where we won a lot of games. So he wasn't going to get put into the team when we were winning because we know that Jose didn't really like that. And then when we started to lose games, he scores in the cup game at Stoke and then gets injured for a few weeks. So this is almost the first chance he's had to come into a team that needed him, that was struggling without him. And we're now seeing that he does bring something. But it would have been, maybe difficult for Jose to bring him into a side that was winning every game. Even if they were playing defensive football, they were still getting the results.
Bren, would you keep him next year?
Good question. It depends how the rest of the season goes. So far, probably not. But he's showing signs that he can deliver. So it depends. We've got Arsenal coming up. We've got obviously Europa League. It depends how he does between now and the end of the season. So right now, probably not. But the hope is that he does deliver in these remaining games.
Oh, he's going to win us the League Cup. I'm telling you now.
You reckon? Oh,
I'll call it.
I think it was HG was saying that our best hope with the Carabao is that City will have a Champions League semi-final. How many days before or after?
Yeah, it's like 3 days before if they get that far. Yeah.
So it's before. Okay.
Well, no, it might be either side of it because the Champions League semi-finals are usually played with just one weekend in between.
That's right.
But around that time, it might just be the first leg. I don't really know, but I know that it is around that time of year. So moving the final obviously was a good idea in that hope of getting fans in, but it doesn't help Man City's season because if they get to that stage, you'd expect them to prioritise the Champions League, especially if they're miles clear in the league. I mean, they may have won the league by that point. So
they definitely will. The Champions League is the one they really want to win, isn't it?
Yeah,
so.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So the hope is there that the eggs will be put in the Champions League basket, and they don't really view the Carabao as an important cup.
For some reason, for whatever reason, City always seem to take it very seriously by virtue of the fact
they seem to win it.
What 4 or 5 years? I don't know. We'll see. Bale's going to win the cup final for us. Put your money on that. Nick Dornan says, I want balls to the wall, Jose. Balls! Bale, Dele, Son and Kane running at Burnley from the start. Get it done, Jose. I like the cut of your jib, Nick, but that's not going to happen. TM, if Spurs win both Europa and the Carabao Cup, again, I love your optimism. Does Jose stay, or do you go for Nagelsmann, knowing that he'll probably be a better long-term manager like Poch? I'm not going to come to you, HG, yet, because I know you really want me to. Brendan, would you take Nagelsmann over Jose? And if Jose, I mean, it's a strange question because in reality, I think if Jose won 2 cups, the Carabao and the Europa, he'd probably get a statue outside the stadium and a 10-year contract. But what would you do?
Exactly that. Like if he does win those 2 trophies, it's very hard to then turn around.
Statue and a 10-year contract.
See you later, mate. So if he wins those 2 trophies, then I expect him to stay. I'm kind of torn with Jose. Like this, there are similarities to the meltdown in his second tenure at Chelsea, but there's also sort of green shoots of optimism as well. So you kind of don't really know where to think. But at the same time, he's not going to go now. That's never going to happen. End of the season will still be quite an expensive time to get rid of him, bearing in mind the salary that he's on. So if he gets those 2 trophies, he'll definitely stay, unless the league form completely falls off. But I can still see us picking up enough points to finish 7th. So 7th and 2 trophies, he'll stay. He'll stay. If we're bottom half and 2 trophies,
he'll stay, won't he? Because if you deliver the Europa League, you're in the Champions League.
Yeah.
Surely. Right. Nagelsmann, very quickly, Bren, before I go to HG, who's going to want to talk about this for a very long time.
He hates Nagelsmann.
Would you have Nagelsmann as the next manager of Spurs?
Based on his fashion sense, no. Because look at him. He's 33 and he wears a bow tie. Come on, what the fuck is that?
Cool. The kids are down with that.
It's not cool. It's not cool.
That's up there with teeth whitening and like brown shoes with a dark suit. I'm telling you.
I think Nagelsmann's the number one choice because there are so few choices out there. Like Ancelotti's at Everton, unavailable. Obviously Pep's there. Klopp, you never know. Like he might be gone. So I wouldn't mind Klopp if you're talking about shiny white teeth. But Nagelsmann, I don't know. I obviously HG knows him better than I do, so he'll certainly have plenty more to say. I just don't think that. I just think because wearing a bow tie and playing attractive football and having limited success, I don't see that as a winning formula. I'd rather give Jose the time to
I don't see a
deliver.
bow tie and playing attractive football as a winning combination. Can we just frame that? All right, you said enough, Bren.
Go on, HG.
HG, go for it.
Okay, so let's be fair to Nagelsmann here, right? Like, obviously, he got the job at Hoffenheim, took them to the Champions League, a very provincial club, albeit backed with a lot of money. Got them to the Champions League, did okay in the group stage. I mean, they didn't make it out of the groups, but still, that was an achievement in itself. Gets to Leipzig. I think Leipzig are probably worse this year than they were last year. I know they're closer to Bayern in the German league, but I don't think they're a better side. And so it's weird because he's obviously done better than what Poch had done before Poch came to Spurs. But I don't necessarily want Nagelsmann at Spurs, and I don't see him at Spurs. I don't. I think that if he ever does decide to leave Leipzig, and he clearly will because he wants to get to the highest levels and manage in various competitions, I just think there will be another club in England that will probably get there before us or decide that they want him next. Like even though Thomas Tuchel's had a really good start at Chelsea, I think Chelsea would ditch Tuchel for Nagelsmann. Then I really do because that just seems like the type of move that Chelsea would make.
What a shit move.
Yeah,
you bunch of twats. Yeah.
No, but the thing is, if you think about it, Thomas Tuchel went to a Champions League final last year with PSG. Right now, granted, they may not have played great teams. I mean, they played Leipzig in the semi-final, but getting PSG to the Champions League final was an achievement because that's what they want to do, and that's the closest they've ever got. He then has a few months off, and Chelsea come in and they give him 18 months. That's not a contract of confidence. It's basically saying we think someone else might be available in 18 months or in 6 months, and so if we get rid of you, it won't cost us a fortune to do so. I know that Nagelsmann came out and said that Tottenham are a club that he would consider, but I think he was just being nice. I don't really think he sees Spurs as his future, and for that reason, I don't think we should really see him as it. It's a bit of a it's not a backward move. I don't want him there, and I don't think it's going to happen.
You don't particularly like him, do you?
No, I mean I just think
Didn't you say it's the German Brendan Rodgers.
Well, yes, I did say that. There are lots of similarities. I do think that Nagelsmann likes himself as much as Rodgers does, and maybe understandably so because he's a top manager at 33. But there seems to be very little substance. Like his teams play good football, but they don't have a striker. They're struggling right now. I think he's almost just a bit in love with himself and wants to tinker too much. That it worries me. I understand that he's going to probably have a very successful career. I mean, he probably has had that, really, if you think about it. But it's not the type of person I want to see in charge of Spurs. I think, I mean, maybe it's just a person.
Maniac.
Yeah, but I mean, I wanted Mourinho if only because he was the obvious choice when Pochettino left. I wouldn't have said I wanted Mourinho, but Mourinho had won lots of trophies very early on in his career, won the important trophies at sides that, I mean, Leipzig are probably quite similar to Porto if you think of it, just the league that they play in and the route that they might take to get to any final. But they lost 2-0 to Liverpool, last week in the Champions League. I just don't, he's a good manager, but I don't want him at Spurs.
Fair enough. And I'm Josie in forever, so that kind of sells it. I think Daniel Levy is too.
What I will say is, if Mourinho did go in the summer, I don't really know who I'd want. If it and that's the thing. If we did get an opening in the summer, it would be a difficult decision because I'm not quite sure which foreign managers might want to come. Ones that have maybe proven themselves in their own league or done better than expected. Yeah, because everyone looks to Germany now because the German managers seem to be the on-trend thing. maybe Spain, maybe there's a Spanish one that's similar. I don't know, but I just think that, like, regardless of what happens this season, even if we win nothing, Jose is going to start next season. There's no doubt in my mind about that.
Yeah, I would agree with you. Top three Spurs. Let's go quick with these because we are on 45 minutes, and I know you're very tired, HG, and I don't want to, keep you away from your shut eye. Top three Spurs players that need to leave this summer, and top three transfer targets. Well, top three players to leave. Bren?
To leave, Lucas.
Yeah,
That was my first one.
Harry Winks.
I love him. Harry, yeah, Lucas, Winks, and
Talk dirty to me.
talk dirty. I think it's that everyone's saying that we need to not we need to lose, but we may lose one of our big players, like a star player.
Yeah.
Come
on.
To generate funds for the rebuild that we need. So, of the big players that would generate enough funds, like Son has been touted as a possible sale. If we get 100 million for Son, I don't know. It's hard to turn it.
Think of the Asian market. Think how many tickets we sell, how many shirts we sell in Korea. It's a lot. It goes a lot deeper than just a transfer fee with him.
Sure.
But obviously,
like,
I know what
I love
saying.
him.
I agree with him. If he doesn't sign a contract, then it is a different kettle of fish. I guess none of us know what Son's thinking.
Yeah, it depends if he signs that contract between now and the end of the season. Come the summer, that's when, if that contract isn't signed, then we need to look, because we can't fall back into the issue that we had with Ericsson, where the performances will drop off and we just have a guy that's unhappy and on a high wage, and then we lose him for 20 million.
Let's be fair, Son's performances have been a bit hit and miss this season. Either very good, or quite poor. So
you're kind of looking at it and thinking, well, are there players that we can recruit? So we sell him for 100 million. Let's say.
On that note, HG, top three transfer targets.
Oh my gosh.
Positions.
Okay, look, but like based on the fact that I would want Sissoko to go, I would want Lucas to go. You need replacements. So like I've said plenty of times on pods and video pods and whatever that I do like the Leipzig player Konrad Laimer to be that kind of midfield engine, more like a Jordan Henderson type figure who just is happy to play anywhere and is a real glue to the side. I desperately want him. There's a couple of we need a centre back. Do you know what I mean? Like we do need some defenders.
Proper one.
Yeah, a proper one. Like we talked about how earlier you said about how our defenders aren't that bad. That in itself is a pretty damning.
They're not that good
sentence.
Yeah.
Quite. It's like Dyer on a good day is an 8, right? He's not a 10. He's never going to be a 10. On a good day, he's an 8. But when you stick him next to Sanchez, they both regress. And I felt like if you look at Toby was maybe a 9 and Vertonghen was maybe an 8, but together they were like 10s because they understood each other so well. I struggle to think that no matter what we do in other areas, we have to strengthen that defence, and that might mean, a good centre half, maybe an Italian one who plays in Italy and is Italian, not Skriniar. I don't want Skriniar.
Get Paolo Maldini out of retirement. He went on to lose about 40, didn't he? He's probably still good for a game.
I don't know. I know there's a Spanish guy who's at Villarreal who is highly rated, but I've seen him play a couple of times and I've not been too convinced. There's a young Frenchman at Frankfurt who I do watch, and he has tendencies where he might develop into something better than what he is. I can see that, but we're not looking for development at this stage. We want someone to come in and maybe lead the other defenders that we have, because Toby is getting on a bit. It's a tough decision because we may have to buy more proven when it comes to centre halves than we have done in other areas.
Okay, good stuff. Without directly answering the question, I like it.
Well, yeah, I do usually keep a list of players that I like. So let me just find it on my computer if I can.
3. That's all we want.
All right. Okay. All right. So anyway, if you want a defender that's tall and fast, there's a guy at Bologna in Italy he's Japanese as well, so he did a lot of shirts, called Takehiro Tomiyasu. He would be a good buy because he's kind of like a hybrid. He can be centre half, but he plays right back a lot for Bologna. So he would be a good one. There's a guy at Fiorentina, another midfielder called Castrovilli. I like him a lot, but it's a different type of number 10. Maybe like he's not a creative 10 like Eriksen was. He's more of a 10 like Lampard is, where he can shoot with both feet and gets about the pitch a lot more.
Yeah,
that would be a nice addition. It's all about the type of football that you want to play. But those are players that I've watched and I've liked them. They've stood out to me.
okay, I like it. Answering the question, very good. FP Champions League semi-final. Hi Franco. First leg is 3 days after the League Cup final. So there you go.
See,
Afterwards.
perfect. There is hope. There is hope.
There is hope. There is hope. I like this one because this is something that I see a lot. If we win nothing this season and finish outside the Champions League places, do you think Kane will go Neo? Says HG. Do you think?
I think Neo answered his own question because Neo, he ain't going anywhere.
No.
Like no one can afford him. No one would pay the money that Levy wants. 3 years left. Like even if Kane decided he wants to go, which I don't see happening with the baby boy who's 6 months old in the summer, it's not going to happen. So this summer, no. Kane, like Man City might try and test us because they'll have money to spend, but I don't think Levy would sell to them. So I just don't see it.
Caller could play centre back with them railings. No striker would be able to even see the goal. That's a bit hard, isn't it? Greg Anderson. I'd like to see Rodon specifically, as he's the only one of our centre backs that doesn't scare the shit out of me winning headers. Tanganga for the same reason. Why don't we just Tanganga and Rodon? That's the future at centre back, surely.
Yeah, like I said that on the pod on the weekend. Like, why not? Like, let's give Rodon a chance.
Well,
he's not young. Like 23 is like not that young. Oh, I'm gonna have to charge my computer. But when a 17-year-old is scoring for Bayern in the Champions League, and you have a 23-year-old on the bench, like he's not that young. I'm gonna go and get my charger. One sec.
Classic, dude. Get beer while you're there, Brad.
Dear.
Is Tanganga ever going to play centre back for us? Do you think? HG was my question.
No, because I saw him play at centre back against Lask when I went to the game, but Mourinho has said publicly that he thinks he's more of a fullback.
Yeah.
Like I could see Mourinho thinking that he's maybe our version of Azpilicueta, right? Someone who can play pretty much anywhere in the back line, but is probably a right back by trade, or should be that first and foremost. Mm. But I don't see Tanganga and Rodon playing games unless our season is dead.
Yeah.
And then we start thinking about next year. And because we hope to be involved in the race for some European spot, we don't want to have dead games either. So I don't know. But I don't think, if Jose doesn't see Tanganga as a centre half, then we have to kind of forget it.
A question on the back of that: Sanchez in or out? Got a good offer? Would you take it?
Yes. I mean, I've said this about our defence. There's not a single player in our defence that isn't called Alderweireld or Reguilon that I wouldn't consider offers for. I've not been convinced by Doherty. I've not been convinced by Rodon. If we could get our money back, I'd probably be okay with it. I know that neither have really had a chance for various reasons, but Doherty's will be 29 next season. You might think, okay, like we did it for a year, it didn't pan out. We take the loss and we go on. So yeah, there are very few players in our defensive 8 or 9 that I think I definitely want to see. Tanganga, I'd like to keep around, but like it may well be better for Tanganga if he goes out on loan. So you just don't know. But Aurier's almost out of contract. Doherty hasn't convinced. Davies, we all know what Davies is like. If we could find someone a bit more energetic or dynamic or better, then I'd be tempted. I don't want them all to go. It's just a case of if you find something better, then you make the switch.
Brendan's dropped off, which is nice, isn't it? But You can see now. We can see your Hungry Spurs shirt in all its glory, HG. If you want to
That's
shout 'em
right.
out,
Here we
now
go.
this is the time. Get on it.
So yes,
Hungry
this is it. So
Spurs.
I guess you can see that those know that I got a press pass for the game that was in Budapest. I couldn't go, but I tried to pass it on to. I found a Hungarian Spurs fan, found him online, and I kind of offered it to him. I don't think he used it, but he got into the stadium, and as a thank you for, I guess, the help, he sent me this shirt. So I got it today. It's got, it's embroidered. I mean, it's actually pretty quality. It's got Hungary Spurs written on my back, so I can pretend to be like Lamella at Upton Park or the London Stadium, whatever it was. Yeah, it's really nice. So Peter, you probably don't watch us, but I'll send this link to you. Thanks a lot, mate. It was really nice of you to send it. Really
Yeah, and
nice.
if you want to send another one, the caller would love one. Thanks very much.
Well, you've slimmed down now, mate. He told me he's only got extra large. It might be a bit like a dress for you now.
Yeah, I've still got a way to go though, mate. I've still got a way to go.
You could give it to your partner. She might wear it for you.
You trying to say she's fat? I don't.
No, but like it doesn't. No, I'm fine. Yes, I was. Clearly, I wasn't. But yeah.
Oh, brilliant. Cillian, I like this. Aurier, Ben Davis, Bergwijn, players that will bring you some money while possible. Yeah, and Doherty, I think TM's thrown in. Several people have thrown into the mix. Doherty as well for people to move on. I just feel with Doherty, there's a player in there. You know, he was good for Wolves, and he's an Ireland international. He's been a very solid player for a number of years for Wolves, and I think I don't know. I can't see moving on after 1 year, to be honest. But
like this is it. Like I agree with you. Like he was really good for Wolves, but we don't play the way that Wolves did. We're probably not going to play the way that Wolves did. And so again, like if an offer came in, like we paid what 15, 13 million for
15
him
or something for him, I think.
Yeah. Like if someone came in and said we'll give you 10, I'd probably take it. And even though that's a loss, I'd probably take it because I just think that we need to get younger anyway. Like one of my big things is it's the squad players like Lamella and Lucas and Sissoko. They are all closer to 30 than they are closer to 25, and that they're not the future. If they're squad players at that age, why are we keeping them? I'd rather give the minutes to Jack Clark. I'd rather give the minutes to Sessegnon or to Skip or to any of those youngsters. So you look at the right backs. I mean, Lavinier played in the week. I don't know if he's something that we could think as a long term, but there are plenty of right backs in English football that seem to be doing very well. So we could probably find one if it's Lamptey at Brighton or Max Aarons. That there are a number of right backs. So I just think holding on to Doherty would be a mid-table move, if I'm honest. If the options came, we should let him go.
It's if a bid came in for him, really, isn't it? And that's
yeah. I mean, like I don't think Wolves would want him back.
No.
I mean, they've changed their system now that he's gone. So yeah, who's it going to be? That is the question. If no one wants him on the cheap, then that should tell you that he definitely needs to go. It's I don't know. Like I do feel sorry for him a bit, but I just think that Doherty, at the age he is, he doesn't fit what we want to do. We try and get rid.
Hello, Brendan. Welcome back. You found your charger.
I did. It didn't normally. The laptop gives you a warning when the battery's going. It was like, no, psh, bong. Sorry about that.
No warnings there. No warnings. You missed lots of stuff. I'm not going to fill you in. You can just watch it back.
That's
on
probably
YouTube.
the best bit.
Probably. Celery Agent says, would you send Vinny back and use the money not spent on him to strengthen the defence? I'll take this one. We need a backup forward. So if we send him back, because I think firstly the fee that we've got him on loan for is probably ridiculous, to be honest. What is it, about 35 mil? 35 mil?
Yeah, if we buy him, I think it's written in that it's a lot of money.
The views are
I mean, I can't see us paying that in the current climate for him. So from that perspective, it's an almost certainty that he will go back. And we'll use that budget to sign another striker. My opinion is you need another Llorente or an Olivier Giroud, someone of that calibre, that's experienced, been about a bit, doesn't mind sitting on the bench, quite happy with that, but absolutely knows where the back of the net is. Because let's face it, Llorente's goals were crucial for us. when Kane was out injured for that long spell, he was really useful. Look at Giroud. Look at what he's done at Chelsea and at Arsenal. As a senior player. Even Ibrahimovic, we could have signed him potentially on a free transfer. And look what he's done for Milan. I think these players, you've got to find someone who's an experienced journeyman striker who's happy to sit on the bench. HG, you're gagging to say something. Go for it.
I am. I just I understand the idea of if we don't spend that money for Vinicius, then we can spend it on defenders, but we still need a striker. So that money that we're not spending on Vinicius still we have to find a striker somewhere. I could see Benfica might be happy to say, you know what, take him from us for another year on loan. We don't necessarily mind. They're obviously not using him this season. So unless someone's going to come in and say, we'll spend 25 million on him, then they'll bring him back and sell him on, because no one's going to pay the money that's in the contract for us. So yeah, I could see Vinicius coming back for another season, just like Bale. I think it's that kind of situation where it might suit everyone to keep him around, but because if he doesn't come back, we still need a striker. And where do you go? Are you going to find? Are we going to pay for Danny Ings? I don't know if we would. I don't. No. So it might just be the more prudent thing financially to say, right, well, we paid, I think, €3 million to loan him for the season, which is peanuts. I think we'd do it again. And with our eyes shut, I think we'd be happy to.
Table, I think we absolutely would do it again. Brent?
And he's not a great all-round player, but he scores. I mean, he has scored goals for us. He knows where the net is. I don't know what more we need, really.
Bren, Vinny, do you love him?
Yeah. I'm Brazilian. I'm in Brazil. I'm happy with as many Brazilians as possible in our team, just because it just creates a bit of a buzz here. I'm not Brazilian.
I'm in Brazil.
My kids are.
Yeah.
I'm in Brazil. It depends. Troy Parrott may be loaned out again next season. I don't know.
He's not set the world on fire, has he? And Dane Scarlett looks like he's 16. He's got the frame of a 16-year-old. There's no way he's putting it in the Premier League right now.
He's the next Kylian Mbappe. Come on. But I like HG's idea if we could get him on loan again for another season. If we could maybe renegotiate the price level. I don't know if that's possible. If we don't accept him at that level, they're going to have to flog him off or keep him at a price. Maybe we could compete at that level. I still think he's got a lot to offer. He's delivered goals. He's done whenever he's played, he's done all right. So why not 35 million? When you're paying 30 million for Sissoko, when you're paying 30 million for Lamela,
different era.
Why not? No, different era, but at the same time, it's not a huge. I know in the COVID climate, of course, but 35 million is not a huge amount of money, and is probably the going rate for a striker like Vinicius.
Ignore him, he's Brazilian. He said it himself. Right. TH, I like this. Liverpool fan here. Welcome. Not quite sure what you're doing here, but welcome. Serve all
nice. Fucking hell. Hi, Liverpool.
He's probably come to gloat.
Yeah. What? Being sixth? Would you sell one of Kane or Son if it meant you could get a guaranteed top choice centre back that would have the same impact as Van Dijk, mate, or Diaz? HG.
Well, that's me. Kane, no. I mean, it's the second best striker we've ever had. No. There's no way we sell Kane unless we really, really have to. Son, if it was an outrageous amount of money this summer, then yes. But I don't see that happening either. So no. I understand the idea of possibly getting in that top level centre half. We probably need two of them. So it's like the old blanket analogy, right? Like you pull it up to your face, but your feet are then cold. It doesn't change a great deal for us if we did that. So no.
That's a Jose analogy. You nicked that off Jose.
If I did, I don't know it as him, but I know it. I've heard it many times. But if it's Jose, then great. But it's like that. Strengthening the defence to score fewer goals seems, no thanks. I want to strengthen my defence and score as many goals. But I mean, if you take Liverpool's a good example, right? They were scoring lots of goals, and then they went and bought Salah, and everyone was like, "God, this guy's great. He scored lots of goals," but it didn't change the problem. The problem was is that they were conceding too many. Then they buy Van Dijk, and everything is back to normal. Back to normal. Everything is great as far as they were concerned. In our situation, like it's the defense that's the problem. So we have to find a way. How we finance it is a different question in these times. But I do think that it would be easier to find some defenders that could work together than it would be to find some strikers that can score the goals that those two do.
On that as well, just to jump in, we don't need to spend Van Dijk money to get good defenders. West Ham have shown that. They brought in Kufal and Souček. They're their best players. Yeah. And so if we have smart recruitment, and that's on, I keep wanting to call him Shitchin. I know it's not his name, Hitchin. Then surely we can find defenders. Where is our recruitment department? Where are they looking? Surely we don't need to spend Van Dijk money. We don't need to sell Sonny, like you said, to pull the sheets up and leave your feet cold. We've got to be smart. And obviously every other team has their scouting network.
The question was, it's a hypothetical one. Would you, if it meant selling Sonny to get a Van Dijk in, would you?
Depends who's available. Depends.
All right. Let's put it this way: you sell Sonny, you sign Van Dijk.
Okay. Yeah. I'll take Van Dijk over Son. Yeah, I'll take it.
I don't think the Liverpool fan will probably like what I'm about to say, but like Virgil van Dijk benefits from the system that Liverpool play. Because there was at no point in his Southampton career did you think he was going to be what he now is. But if you think about Vertonghen and Alderweireld, like they benefited from playing a high press. They benefited from us basically trying to keep the ball away from them as much as possible. And I think that works too for Liverpool. Van Dijk, he barely has a striker to mark because those players, the opponents, are trying their best to get the ball off Liverpool, or they're worried about defending as opposed to attacking. So like Van Dijk is a great player, and clearly, 6'4", man mountain, fast, capable on the, with the ball at his feet. But I think he looks much better than he is because of the system that Liverpool play. And so, yeah, like we have to change that too. Like to find world class defenders that are happy to defend for 80 minutes a game. You're not going to do that. You want to find these players that take the pressure off our defence.
Good.
You can tell me I'm wrong, but that's how I see it.
I don't think you are wrong. Thoughts on Ariana says thoughts on Hugo's performance in the last couple of matches. Oh, I'll go first. Crap. But overall, is he a good keeper and will stay here next season? Absolutely.
Oh, that's a tough one. I don't think he's. If Hugo's out of contract next summer, 2022, do you keep him for that year and let him leave on a free? I mean, you could do. He'd have been at the club for 10 years. No one could say that he hasn't given everything to Spurs. But
I don't see why not, is my point. I don't see why not. He's not going to have much value if you sell him anyway with 1 year left.
Yeah, but it's something. I mean, that's just it. Like, again, we're left with the whole, if he goes, then you have to find a goalkeeper, and that may cost you more than what Hugo would leave. But it to me, it's like the Lewandowski issue, right? Lewandowski was at Dortmund. They could have sold him for 25 million the summer before he left on a free. They didn't because they thought we'll have him for that final year to try and win something against Bayern. They didn't win anything. And since then, Bayern have won everything. So they sacrificed. Yes, they got an extra season out of Lewandowski, but it might have cost them 7 years of real competition because that money wasn't there to be reinvested. I suspect that if PSG want to come in and say, look, we'll give Hugo a massive contract and Hugo wants to go, maybe we do think, okay, this is the chance that, because I mean, I've said this on things before. We are a top 10 team in the world, right? We may be 4th, 5th, 6th in England, but when it comes to playing for a real giant football club, that's Spurs. And for goalkeepers, those chances don't come around very often. Like, because if you're a first choice at a big team, well, that's it. Like, you might be there for 10 years, like De Gea has been at Man United. So there's going to be goalkeepers that are interested in coming to Spurs if we do let Hugo go. We won't make a profit on the deal, but I just think that maybe it's a good time to be thinking we need to find a goalkeeper for the next 10 years.
Bren, agree?
Yeah, I think that it depends what the fee we're going to get. Like, if we get 20 million for Hugo with 1 year left for a goalkeeper, that's.
We ain't getting 10
Do
million.
you reckon we won't? Not even 20 million?
No.
For Hugo?
The thing is, no one's got any money.
Season. No one's got any money. He's got one season left.
PSG do?
They can sign him in a year for nothing.
Well, then they can wait a year. Like, I don't know. If the rumour is we're going for Nick Pope. Burnley want 50 million. If we can get 20, 50, even 15 for Hugo, is
who's
nothing.
your source?
It's my source. I'm just saying. Like, 20 million for Hugo with 1 year left, I'll take. And because we wouldn't take whatever 60, 70 million for Ericsson with 1 year left. Hugo, with 1 year left, 20 million. We put that towards the kitty for Nick Pope. Getting down to about
the interesting thing with the summer in mind is that we've got two strikers who might be on the move, and those are the strikers that will cost money and that will go for big money, right? PSG almost certainly have to sell Mbappe this summer because he's out of contract next summer, so they won't let him go for free. If it's Real or Barcelona, it's probably not Barcelona because they've got no money anyway. So you're looking at Real, maybe City. Someone is going to spend a lot of money on Mbappe, which means PSG would have money to then buy other people. So we might be lucky in that respect. It's the same with Dortmund. They'll probably sell Haaland and they'll have some money to spend on, maybe Lloris could go there because Dortmund's goalkeeper situation is rubbish. But I just think that's where the money's coming from. You're not going to see many teams go out and spend 100 million on one player. I mean, I don't. Apart from those two, I don't see anyone doing it, and so it becomes the numbers are just less.
Yep, guys, listen. I think that is all we've got time for tonight. It's an hour and 12 minutes, so I thank you, and thank you for bearing with me due to technical issues earlier on. Apple, the ghost of Steve Jobs, coming back to bite me on the arse when I turn on my computer. So, guys, thank you very much. Hopefully, we'll look forward to a fantastic result this weekend, a Gareth Bale hat-trick. And anything you want to say, Bren, before we go?
No, just I said cheers. Been good chatting with you guys. I miss you. And yeah, optimistic for the weekend. We're going to fucking do it. 3-0.
How about you, HG?
Yeah, I don't really have much to say. People have been listening to me for a good hour. I'm very happy. Yeah, I know. I'm very happy that people watch us. So thanks for watching. We'll be doing more of these now, and get on the Facebook page, look at the football prizes things that we have going on. These are good prizes that people can win for very cheap. So
that's what I was going to suggest. And you know what the latest prize is, don't you?
I don't actually. Tell us.
I will. So it's Lucas Moura's boot signed, and this one was actually worn in a football match. $7.45 a ticket. $7.45 ticket. You can save 10% using the code 10cheese. Brendan, how many tickets have you bought so far?
A bit surprising, I've not bought any, but I did make the joke in the pod yesterday that as it was match worn, you can literally smell the mediocrity.
I mean, that's brilliant.
It's probably going to be Lucas's right boot from that semi-final, the one that didn't do anything.
Oh no, it's not from the semi-final.
I know.
From that season.
It was from that season, but it's going to be one that two left feet, right?
Anyway, thanks, Cheeseheads, and in the meantime, come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Hungary Spurs! Woo!